Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Steven back with another video. In today's video, we'll be talking about grading all the free agent moves that has happened this week. Free agency has been wild this week. A lot of teams signing players, a lot of players that were cut that I was surprised were getting cut. For example, Zadarius Smith, who was cut by Green Bay, now with the Baltimore Ravens. A lot of moves has happened. But before we get into the video, make sure you smash that like button, make sure you subscribe, and let's jump into the video.
My bitch said that I'm a dub, I called that bitch a clown. Girl, you was supposed to have my heart, but girl, you knocked it down. Bro stuck inside the den, cause we can't put our pistol down. Caught him on that block, he tried run when shots hit the ground. Retaliation from my brothers, it just won't stop. We dressing up a picture that they turned to mugshot. We love Shosha in his body, know them slugs high. His mama told him he gon' pay if he stand on that block. Call my Glock a rapper, that bitch spin rounds. Grandma put a switch up on that Glock, it jump around.
Where you at,
like
Bash?
I don't love myself, it bring me down. Oh yeah, we young and dumb, we used to fight and now we blicking niggas down. We do this shit for real, we young and dumb, hopped in that field. Shooting shit for real, he take action, now
And with the first team I have is the Denver Broncos. They got an A+ for me because, you know, when you trade for a quarterback like Russell Wilson, who already pushed you at a Super Bowl contender level, you automatically get an A for me because we all know Russell is a top 3 quarterback. They signed offensive line Ben Predator on a 1-year deal, who I think is going to help the offensive line. The Broncos don't have the greatest O-line in the world. Okay, they signed Randy Gregory, 5 years, $7 million deal. I think they paid a bit over much, but he is one of the more better outside linebackers in the league. And I think this whole offseason is already off to a great start for the Broncos. I think if they can just draft 1 or 2 pieces on the offensive line, the Denver Broncos are a top 3 team in the entire NFL. They are a Super Bowl contender in my eyes. And with the next team I have is the Los Angeles Chargers, who all season again gets an A+ in my books, because when you go out and you trade for maybe a top 3 edge in the league in Khalil Mack, you go out and sign a top 5 corner in J.C. Jackson, you re-sign Mike Williams, you get Sebastian Joseph Day. This is a great. The Chargers to me already had a top 5 defense, but I think now they probably have the best defense in football. You have Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, J.C. Jackson, Darren Williams. Like, you have an elite player at each level on the defense. And I think you have Justin Herbert on the offense. The offensive line still needs some work, but you have Justin Herbert and you got that defense. The Chargers are Super Bowl contenders in my eyes, because you have all this talent. I feel like if the coaching staff can get it right, the Chargers can. I would not be surprised if the Chargers are in the Super Bowl next year. And what the next team we have is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who Tom Brady has came back out of retirement for God knows why. They re-signed Ryan Jensen for a 3-year deal. You got back Carla Davis on a 3-year deal. You signed Russell Gage for a 3-year deal. Russell Gage in Atlanta showed that he can be a number 2 receiver if you need him, even the number 1 at time. So I think he's going to be a great pairing with Chris Godwin that you franchise tag. So the Bucs free agency has been going really, really well. I mean, obviously when you have Tom Brady, you're automatically going to be in that Super Bowl conversation. So I gave Tampa a B+. I think they have had a really, really just solid free agency so far. But there's definitely a lot of free agents out there that they can still sign. So for right now, I give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers a B+. Next, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers, to me, probably had the best offseason so far. You signed Mitchell Trubisky, who I still think has a lot of upside and that can be an elite quarterback. And I think Mitchell Trubisky is going to either prove it was Matt Nagy or it was just him that was that wasn't that great, because I think it was Matt Nagy, because when Matt Nagy first came in, Mitchell Trubisky had one of his best seasons. Now, over the past 2 years, Mitchell has just digressed, and Justin Fields didn't look that great under Matt Nagy. So Matt Nagy isn't really that great of a head coach. So Mitchell Trubisky can use the Pittsburgh Steelers and show that, he can be a really, really great quarterback. They signed offensive tackle Champa Okorafor, who's one of the more average, better tackles. I think he's going to definitely boost up the offensive line. They signed James Daniels, who's one of the best guards in the league. Mason Cole. So they're definitely beefing up that offensive lineman. So the Pittsburgh Steelers offseason is already off to a great start. They got offensive lineman help. They grabbed the quarterback. Now they can still draft the quarterback in the NFL draft like a Kenny Pickett or Malik Willis. But for what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing, it looks like Mitchell Trubisky is going to be the guy for right now, because his contract is a 2-year, $14 million contract. So it's a friendly contract for both the Pittsburgh Steelers and Trubisky. And if Mitchell shows that he could be a really, really great quarterback, he can be looking for a huge extension in the offseason. So the Steelers get a A+ for me. And for the next team, I have the Dallas Cowboys, who I have graded as a C. I mean, they extended Michael Gallup, they franchise tagged Dalton Shelton, and they signed Malik Hooker to a 2-year, $8 million deal. Again, they have had a solid all season. I think they're going to miss Amari Cooper, because I think Amari Cooper is a number 1 receiver. I think we pretty much all know that. To me, he's a top 10 receiver in the league. I think they're going to miss him, and you let Cedric Wilson gone, so now you only have CeeDee Lamb and Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup, don't get me wrong, he's a great player, but I just don't think he's a number 1 receiver in my opinion. Now, we don't know if CeeDee Lamb is going to be the number 1 receiver or Michael Gallup, but they're going to have to find that third guy. Dalton Shelton is one of the better tight ends in the league. I think they need to hurry up and try to extend him. But I think Ezekiel Elliott is stopping them from extending Dalton Shelton because he's getting paid a lot. I still do think Ezekiel Elliott is worth that contract, but he just still hasn't really lived up to it all season. And some of it is not all his fault, because the Cowboys are a pass-heavy offense. They don't really rely on the run like that. So the Cowboys, again, has had just a very solid all season. It wasn't the greatest all season by the Cowboys. There are definitely some moves they can do to free up some cap space, but overall, Cowboys get a C for me. And for the next team, I have the Cleveland Browns, who gets an A for me. They traded for a top 10 and a number 1 receiver in Amari Cooper. They franchise tag David Njoku. They traded for Chase from the Patriots, who's a very, very solid edge rusher. I do think losing Jarvis Landry hurt, but getting Cooper gives them a bona fide number 1 at a reasonable cost, considering the free agent market. Brian and Chase, they're okay additions, but I really, really want to see what they do at the quarterback position, because it looks like they don't really want Baker. They look like they're all in on Deshaun Watson. So the Browns are going to have to do something at quarterback, because I think if they get Deshaun Watson, they're a bona fide top 5 team in football. If they stick with Baker, they're a below average team, because Baker, let's all be real, is not an elite quarterback. Should have never been drafted number 1 overall in his draft class. He has just been, so far, we all have to admit, has been a bust. So whatever the Browns do at quarterback is going to dictate how their season will go for the 2022-2023 season. And for the next team, I have the New York Jets, who get a B+ for me. They've had, again, a really good offseason. They signed Laken Tomlinson for a 3-year, $40 million deal, who's probably going to play right guard, because I feel like you already have Elijah Vera Tucker at that position. I think you could just slide him over to right guard. And I think the Jets are already building a really, really good offensive line. You have Mekhi Becton, you have Laken Tomlinson, Elijah Vera Tucker. So if they can sign a center and get a right tackle, the Jets has a pretty solid O-line for Zach Wilson. You signed Bengals tight end CJ Uzomah to a 3-year, $24 million. It's sad to see, as a Bengals fan, CJ Uzomah go, but CJ Uzomah is going to be a great weapon for Zach Wilson. You signed corner DJ Reed to a 3-year, $33 million deal. A solid corner. And you signed safety Jordan Whitehead to a 2-year deal, who's a solid safety. So the Jets got Zach Wilson, a great pass catcher. They're building up the O-line. The Jets overall had a pretty solid offseason. I think if they can grab a couple more pieces in the draft, the Jets will be really, really solid. They won't be a playoff team, but they'll definitely win a few more games. And with the next team, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who gets a C-. It's like Jacksonville get all this money, decides to just spend it on anyone they can get. You signed Christian Kirk to a $72 million contract? Christian Kirk, again, that's a solid receiver, but you overpaid way too much for Christian Kirk. You were better off just re-signing DJ Clark to that kind of money. Then you signed Zay Jones from the Raiders to a 3-year, $24 million deal. Overpaid for him. Evan Ingram, I think, was a really good signing. He's one of the better tight ends in the league. You franchise tag Cam Jordan, the offensive tackle. You signed Brandon Sherrill to a 3-year, $49.5 million deal. That's going to definitely bolster the offensive lineup. You signed Taylor Shelton to a 2-year deal. That's going to bolster the offensive line. So they definitely addressed the offensive line to protect Trevor Lawrence. But they really overpaid for a lot of players. Foley Pascasco overpaid for him a little bit, but I guess that's a solid contract depending on what he brings to the table. So the Jaguars just overpaid for a lot of players. Again, Christian Kirk is good and all, but he's not worth that kind of money. You were better off either drafting a receiver or going after someone like an Allen Robinson. So the Jaguar gets a C- for me. And last but not least, we have the Cincinnati Bengals. My Bengals, I'm going to give them a B+. Okay, they dressed the O-line. They signed Alex Kappa for a 4-year deal. They signed center Ted Kraft out of New England to a 3-year deal. They re-signed BJ Hill. I was hoping we can get Larry Ogunjobi, but I think he was asking for a bit too much. And we franchise tag Jesse Bates. Look, we got Joe Burrow help on front, okay? And it was worth BJ Hill. It was worth locking him up over Larry because Larry, again, was asking for a lot of money. But the Bengals, if they can grab a tackle either in the draft or free agency, the Bengals have probably just suited up their offensive line because now you have Jonah Williams, Jackson Carman, Ted Kraft, who can play guard or center, but we're assuming he's going to play center. You have Alex Kappa, and now you can get a right tackle from free agency or the draft. The Bengals did a really, really great job, and they're not even done yet. Once they cut Trey Waynes and save up some money, the Bengals are going to be in prime position to sign another tackle or re-sign Jesse Bates. But that's all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to turn those post notifications on. And I'm out. Peace.
They doubted me, man, I just wanna make it. I gotta keep going, I can't make time and waste it. Sometimes I wanna quit, no. I just wanna see my niggas go in a better environment. Where the young niggas look up the old heads, commit cons and shit. No, I can't get my soul lift. Make them then buy my block, then I'm gon' flip it all again. Told her bro they cool to live like us. They see some drugs and they gon' jump right out the guns. Man, I told all my little bros the streets ain't fun. A legend in this rap game, man, I can die with none. Don't want go outside to watch my back, nigga. They still fuck tall, they just wanna go around and attack niggas. Man, I cut off the little hoes, they just distract niggas. Build up a stool up in my crib and just make tracks with it. You doubted me.